R.E.S.P.E.C.T. Find out what it means to me. You know how sometimes we start off with a song, but first we got to say happy Friday. It's Dress Down Friday. So, you know, we just doing the black tee, little yellow wristwatch. Actually got on Gucci flip-flops. Don't have the 6-top models, but that's all right because outside is hot. I know you like that. Welcome to Friday. I hope everything's good for you. I hope you're about to have a great weekend in front of you. But before we get to the weekend, just want to talk about some of the other stuff guys really need to check out from earlier during the week. Did some talking about Trump, did some talking about Elon Musk, stuff that's all over the news, a little bit of stuff about Cardi B. And in all of those situations, just like most parts of situations with life, it comes down to respect. And a lot of times, or there can be times where all of us, where we have these issues where we start thinking to ourselves in our mind, is it me or is it them? Is it me or is it somebody else? And then sometimes you get to start to thinking because you don't want to get too self-absorbed. You don't want to get too wrapped up in yourself because you know that other people got other things going on. But sometimes you just got to ask yourself, damn, do they respect me, bro? Do they respect me, dog? And, you know, I could just only talk about my case, you know, just different things because like nobody or very, very rarely are you going to have a person who sees things the way you do for the most part. Nobody sees everybody 100%, but like when you see things the way you see it and can feel things almost the way you do. That's why typically the circle of friends you have, especially as you get older, is a lot closer or tighter. So just to give a couple examples, you know, I know one thing as far as, because I'm starting to think to myself, like, you know, like even, because I'll start off with even dating. So with dating, I'm starting to think to myself, like, am I being a jerk? Am I being like like an impatient Pete? Excuse me if your name is Pete. But am I being impatient when it comes down to certain stuff? Or is it just that I'm just less tolerable of other stuff, of other crap? And in my estimation, I start to look at some of the stuff as like a lack of respect. Because sometimes you look out for people, you do things, and I know guys a lot of times do. We do. A lot of times this is men, we have ulterior motives. This is the reason why most times for me, and I try to explain to guys, I know for me, like really truly having multiple platonic friends isn't really a thing. Now, it might be a thing for other people, but for me, it's not a thing. And I'm not talking about if you've already mess with the person and then now y'all cool, because at one point it wasn't strictly platonic. It wasn't strictly just, hey, that's my friend, that's my bud. So that's why anytime somebody tells you, especially a woman, hey, you know, I got friends who are men, no, you need to watch out for that, because a lot of times it could be, you know, those are just guys in the waiting in the wings or whatever. But to get back on topic, when we talk about respect, when it comes down to that, even me, I had to learn how to listen. There is no trying to buy your way into having the girl like you. There is no way to, well, there is a way. You just got to do a lot of buying. But, you know, I'm kind of cheap with the buying, so we're not doing all that, right? So there's no real way to buy yourself into something that you might want. And I've even had situations where somebody has said to me, like I said one thing thinking that it's something, and then, or maybe that is not much of nothing, but it could be kind of something. And for them to basically tell me like, nah, dog, it's nothing. You were right in the first thing. It was nothing. And so, you know, just like all of us, we get sensitive at times, and sometimes we feel like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was cool. I thought I was the bull. I thought I was, you know, mentally, emotionally superior. I thought that, I could bring things in and have a person or this person think on my level when it comes down to doing whatever it is I would want to do with them. And I'm talking about women. And that's not the case. But it's like the level of respect, because I wouldn't call it disrespect, because, a lot of times people don't get out of line and everything like that. But this is one of the reasons why I talk, because it's for you, it's for me to help get a recalibration of things. Because the way we may be accustomed to doing things may not necessarily be the right way. And to always be thinking forward, changing our approach to how we're doing what we're doing. So, for instance, dating now is dating different than it was 10 years ago. Whereas like a person like me, I've refused to get on the computer dating websites. But, that's cool. I respect people that do it. I think that it's dope. But me, and this is where sometimes our own stubborn self gets in our way. Me, I don't want to do it because I be thinking everybody on there is crazy. I be thinking like, well, she needed to be on there. She must have ran through all of the normal people or drove them crazy. So now she's not. But I know that that's not the case. I know that there have been some great people that have matched up by being online. It's just that, I haven't tried doing it yet. But the respect levels, like I've said before, hey, listen, it's okay. I can respect you more if I call you, like if you're not going to answer the calls or you're going to block the number or you're going to do whatever, what's the use of giving the number out? And I know I get it. Some people say, well, she might just want to get a number out because she doesn't, you're a big guy or girls are scared that guys are going to do something to them and all this and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know how much of that I'm buying. I mean, I'm sure that's a small percent, but I don't know how much of that I'm buying. But when it comes down to dating and relationships and women and men, it depends on what people's mindsets are. Some people just aren't in the space to date. I've heard that before. Some people just rather would take your number, which I would tell guys 90% of the time, once she takes your number, unless she's really like overly interested, they'll rarely call, because women don't, in my estimation, process like that. Whereas men, we try to call, I'd say, we get numbers, we try to call at least 70, 80% of them, if not all of them, because we want to see, where this could lead to. So there's certain, even with dating, aspects of respect that, in my estimation, now dating at this stage, they're just not there. Although I try to remain a respectful person. And a lot of times you just be like, whatever, but we're men, so we got to keep shooting our shots. Other part of respect, I'm only going to spend a few minutes on this, is where it's respect that you can tangibly see. And not to the point where, because I think that we all have people in our lives and we have good people. I sincerely think that most people happen to be good people. And just because you want something, and in this case, i.e. me, just because I want something does not mean that it's going to translate to somebody else. So like, say for instance, I sit here in back of this picture of England or whatever, in a platinum gray colored wall and a microphone, and talk to people for 10 minutes per day to try to push positivity, to try to push positive messages, and also to try to bring a little bit of humor and knowledge to situations that people may not know. Like some of the stuff I didn't know about Trump's big, beautiful bill. I had to research it because I wanted to make sure that all 5 or 6 of you, and I love you, I told you that watched, can get something out of it, and hopefully you watch it the way through. Because, hey, let's face it, nobody's getting rich off of this. And I've heard people say, well, you know what, Greg, why do you do it? And my thing is that why not do it? Why not? I go on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'm on a lot of stuff. And I see a whole bunch of booty shaking. And it's all good because, I'm with it. I like booties. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's just funny to me how, and this is what I mean by respect. Out of all of the people that I know, and all of the people that I know that know other people, regardless as to what you are interested in or not, because things grow like a spider web, and I've said this before too. You mean to tell me you can't get 20, 30 people to sit down and hear what a guy is saying on a regular basis? I mean, in a way, to me, because we're going to keep going. And like I told you, even if it's just me, shout out to my cousin Kev, shout out to Jake, shout out to Ray, shout out to my mama, who I know always watch. But it is perplexing to me that, and shout out to you, any of you, because I see the analytics, people that watch. And it starts to make me think like, damn, dog, do people respect you? Do people even want to hear anything that you have to say? And the answer to that could be no. It could be no. And I get that too. But the reason why I brought those numbers up is because I would be thinking to myself, damn, if I knew this guy and I knew he was a good guy, and I knew that he was a decent guy, and he's trying to do something decent and positive, I mean, I would tune in for 10 minutes at least once a week. Because the first thing I'd say is that, like even with me, I know a bunch of teachers. I know a bunch of social workers. I know a bunch of nurses. I know a bunch of hardworking guys. I know people that work for the bus companies, for the airplanes, for the airlines, for the train stations, people who are principals, deans at schools, doctors, nurses, like I said before. I know a whole bunch of these people, right? How many people do you personally know that sit on YouTube and try to promote a positive message? And I'll tell you, because out of the hundreds and possibly thousands of people I know and work with, I don't see any. I don't see any. But I do see a whole bunch of booty shaking. I do see a whole bunch of other stuff. And like I said, that's all good. But you do have to start to ask, damn, dog, do they respect you? You mean to tell me, out of the hundreds of people you know, Mr. Card Tender, that you're not even good enough for people just to click on and give 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds? But guess what? We ain't gonna keep stopping, and we're gonna keep going, and to whatever this turns into. Because guess what? Here's the beauty of it. It's free for me. And the crazy part is it's free for you. It's freer for you because you don't have to sit and look at a camera or anything to do it. So sometimes when you do have tangible proof that people may not believe in what you're doing, or maybe they just don't care what you're doing. And I get that, because this is my journey. This is nobody else's journey. But as impactful as I feel as though I've been on people in their lives, I hope that people would feel like, hey, that guy, he is worth me spending 2 weeks. Let me see. If I do, let's just average, let's say I do a 10-minute video each day. I understand the attention span of most people, adults, is only 15 minutes. But if I did a video 1 day a week, 5 days a week, that's only 50 minutes. But it's funny, I'll hear friends sit back and talk about how they about to binge watch Power, or they about to binge watch this, or they can do that. Or even other friends who, say, oh, for real? I didn't know. I don't want to watch that kind of stuff. Talking about what I'm doing. So hopefully, we find some people. And like I said, we're always looking for new friends. We're always looking for people that want to say, hey, you know what? We're going to embrace more positivity. You know what I mean? Even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes a day. And, overall, do I feel like I don't have the respect of people and friends that I know? But I also feel like If you stand for something good and you know that somebody else is doing something good and it doesn't cost you. And the funny part about it is that you literally could just open your phone, go to it, hit play, don't even look at it again. Because you say, you know what? I want to help out my friend. But hey, you know how it goes. Friendships sometimes are as deep as when they see you. And that's okay too, because we're going to keep going. But don't think for 1 minute I'm not going to keep pushing the narrative that when you got a friend, when you have somebody who's doing positive, you try to share it. You try to embrace it. You hold on to it, because one day your friend ain't going to be here, or you ain't going to be here. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. So I need more of my good friends to tune in, at least for a few minutes. We were doing good for a period of time, but now they're back down again. And I'm hoping that that's just temporary. All right? Because you don't want me to have to come on here and go off again. And this wasn't even really a going off. Because, I understand. You got kids to raise. You got all kinds of other stuff to do. But take a little time for your boy. And say, hey, you know what? I'm going to support my homie. Or I'm going to support that dude that I worked with. Or I'm going to support that guy that, is always willing to come through and help me out. Or answers the phone when I call. So, R.E.S.P.E.C.T. I guess I'm finding out what it means to me. Hey, but you know how we do. Remember, live life. Don't let life live you.